Good night, everyone. We are reading from Genesis chapter 41 from the English Standard Version. After 2 years, Pharaoh dreamed that he was standing by the Nile, and behold, there came up out of the Nile 7 cows, attractive and plump, and they fed in the reed grass. And behold, 7 other cows, ugly and thin, came up out of the Nile after them, and stood by the other cows on the bank of the Nile. And the ugly, thin cows ate up the 7 attractive, plump cows, and Pharaoh awoke. And he fell asleep and dreamed a second time, and behold, 7 ears of corn, plump and good, were growing on one stalk. And behold, after them sprouted 7 ears, thin and blighted by the east wind, and the thin ears swallowed up the 7 plump, full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. So in the morning his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for the magicians of Egypt and all its wise men. Pharaoh told them his dreams, but there was none who could interpret them to Pharaoh. Then the chief cupbearer said to Pharaoh, I remember my offenses today, when Pharaoh was angry with his servants, and put me and the chief baker in custody in the house of the captain of the guard. We dreamed on the same night, he and I, each having a dream with its own interpretation. A young Hebrew was there with us, a servant of the captain of the guard. When we told him, he interpreted our dreams to us, giving an interpretation to each man according to his dream. As he interpreted to us, so it came about. I was restored to my office, and the baker was hanged. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they quickly brought him out of the pit. And when he had shaved himself and changed his clothes, he came in before Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I have had a dream, and there is no one who can interpret it. I have heard it said that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it. Joseph answered Pharaoh, it is not in me. God will give Pharaoh a favorable answer. When Pharaoh said to Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, behold, in my dream I was standing on the banks of the Nile. 7 cows, plump and attractive, came up out of the Nile and fed in the reed grass. 7 other cows came up after them, poor and very ugly and thin, such as I have never seen in all the land of Egypt. And the thin, ugly cows ate up the first 7 plump cows. But when they had eaten them, no one would have known that they had eaten them, for they were still as ugly as at the beginning. Then I awoke. I also saw in my dream 7 ears growing on one stalk, full and good. 7 ears, withered thin, blighted by the east wind, sprouted after them, and the thin ears swallowed up the 7 good ears. And I told it to the magician, but there was no one who could explain it to me. Then Joseph said to Pharaoh, the dreams of Pharaoh are one. God has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good heirs are 7 years. The dreams are one. The 7 lean and ugly cows that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty heirs, blighted by the east winds, are also 7 years of famine. It is as I told Pharaoh. God has shown to Pharaoh what he is about to do. There will come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt, but after them there will arise 7 years of famine, and all the plenty will be forgotten in the land of Egypt. The famine will consume the land, and the plenty will be unknown in the land, by reason of the famine that will follow, for it will be very severe. And the doubling of Pharaoh's dream means that the thing is fixed by God, and God will shortly bring it about. Now, therefore, let Pharaoh select a discerning and wise man, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh proceed to appoint overseers over the land, and take 1/5 of the produce of the land of Egypt during the 7 plentiful years, and let them gather all the food of these good years that are coming, and store up grain under the authority of Pharaoh for food in the city, and let them keep it. That food shall be a reserve for the land against the 7 years of famine that are to occur in the land of Egypt, so that the land may not perish through the famine. At this proposal pleased Pharaoh and all his servants. And Pharaoh said to his servants, can we find a man like this in whom is the Spirit of God? Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, since God has shown you all this, there is none so discerning and wise as you are. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall order themselves as you command. Only as regards the throne will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have set you over all the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh took his signet ring from his hand and put it on Joseph's hand, and clothed him in garments of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. And he made him ride in his second chariot, and he called out before him, bow the knee. Thus he set him over all the land of Egypt. Moreover, Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without your consent no one shall lift up hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphenath-Paneah, and he gave him in marriage Asenath, the daughter of Potipherah, priest of On. So Joseph went out over the land of Egypt. Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh, and went through all the land of Egypt. During 7 plentiful years, the earth produced abundantly, and he gathered up all the food of these 7 years, which occurred in the land of Egypt, and put the food in the cities. He put it in every city, the food from the fields around it. And Joseph stored up grain in great abundance, like the sand of the sea, until he ceased to measure it, for it could not be measured. Before the year of famine came, two sons were born to Joseph. Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bore them to him. Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for, he said, God has made me forget all my hardship and all my father's house. The name of the second he called Ephraim, for God has made me fruitful in the land of my affliction. The 7 years of plenty that occurred in the land of Egypt came to an end, and the 7 years of famine began to come, as Joseph had said. There was famine in all the land, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread. When all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. Pharaoh said to all the Egyptians, "Go to Joseph. What he says to you, do." So when the famine had spread over all the land, Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold to the Egyptians, for the famine was severe in the land of Egypt. Moreover, all the earth came to Egypt to buy grain, because the famine was severe over all the earth. Chapter 42. When Jacob learned that there was grain for sale in Egypt, he said to his sons, "Why do you look at one another?" And he said, "Behold, I have heard that there is grain for sale in Egypt. Go down and buy grain for us there, that we may live and not die." So 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain in Egypt. But Jacob did not send Benjamin, Joseph's brother, with his brothers, for he feared that harm might happen to him. Thus the sons of Israel came to buy among the others who came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. Now Joseph was governor over the land. He was the one who sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed themselves with their faces to the ground. Joseph saw his brothers and recognized them, but he treated them like strangers and spoke roughly to them. "Where did you come from?" he said. They said, "From the land of Canaan, to buy food." And Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. And Joseph remembered the dreams that he had dreamed of them. And he said to them, "You are spies. You have come to see the nakedness of the land." They said to him, "No, my lord, your servants have come to buy food. We are all sons of one man. We are honest men. Your servants have never been spies." He said to them, "No, it is the nakedness of the land that you have come to see." And they said, "We, your servants, are 12 brothers, the sons of one man, in the land of Canaan. And behold, the youngest is this day with our father, and one is no more." But Joseph said to them, "It is as I said to you, you are spies. By this you shall be tested. By the life of Pharaoh, you shall not go from this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you, and let him bring your brother, while you remain confined, that in your word that your words may be tested, whether there is truth in you, or else, by the life of Pharaoh, surely you are spies. And then he put them all in custody for 3 days. On the third day, Joseph said to them, do this, and you will live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers remain confined where you are in custody, and let the rest go and carry grain for the famine of your households. And bring your youngest brother to me, so your words will be verified, and you shall not die. And they did so. Then they said to one another, in truth, we are guilty concerning our brother, in that we saw the distress of his soul when he begged us, and we did not listen. And this is why this distress has come upon us. And Reuben answered them, did I not tell you not to sin against the boy? But you did not listen. So now here comes a reckoning for his blood. They did not know that Joseph understood them, for there was an interpreter between them. Then he turned away from them and wept. And he returned to them and spoke to them. And he took Simeon from them and bound him before their eyes. And Joseph gave orders to fill their bags with grain, and to replace every man's money in his sack, and to give them provisions for the journey. This was done for them. They loaded up their donkeys with the grain and departed. And as one of them opened his sack to give his donkey fodder at the lodging place, he saw his money in the mouth of his sack. He said to his brothers, my money has been put back. Here it is in the mouth of my sack. At this their hearts failed them, and they turned trembling to one another, saying, what is this that God has done to us? When they came back to Jacob their father in the land of Canaan, they told him all that had happened to them, saying, the man, the Lord of the land, spoke roughly to us and took us to be spies of the land. But we said to him, we are honest men. We have never been spies. We are 12 brothers, sons of one father, sons of our father. One is no more, and the youngest is this day with our father in the land of Canaan. Then the man, the Lord of the land, said to us, by this I shall know that you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers with me, and take grain for the famine of your households, and go your way. Bring your youngest brother to me, then I shall know that you are not spies, but honest men, and I will deliver your brother to you, and you shall trade in the land. As they emptied their sacks, behold, every man's bundle of money was in his sack. And when they and their father saw their bundles of money, they were afraid. And Jacob their father said to them, you have bereaved me of my children. Joseph is no more, and Simeon is no more, and now you would take Benjamin. All this has come against me. Then Reuben said to his father, kill my 2 sons, if I do not bring him back to you. Put him in my hands, and I will bring him back to you. But he said, my son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is the only one left. If harm should happen to him on the journey that you are to make, you would bring down my gray hairs to sorrow, to Sheol. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Thanks be to God.
So let's start with the questions. Sam, how much time had elapsed since the events recorded in chapter 40? Tommy?
2 years.
He was muted or what?
Yeah.
Okay. Next to me. What two dreams did Pharaoh have? I'll answer that one. His first dream was that 7 fat, healthy cows came up out of the Nile as he stood there, and the cows fed on the reed grass. Then 7 ugly, thin cows came up from the river and ate the 7 healthy cows. And then he dreamt that 7 ears of plump, good grain grew from one stalk. And then 7 unhealthy ears grew, and those ears were shriveled up by the east wind. The thin head swallowed up the 7 fat heads of grain. And how did this affect him? He was troubled in his spirit. And could the wise men and magicians of Egypt interpret his dreams? No. Question 3 to Auntie Susan. What did the chief butler then remember and tell to Pharaoh?
He remembered how he was imprisoned by the Pharaoh as well as the chief baker. They both had dreams, and each dream had a meaning of its own. There was a young Hebrew servant, the captain of the guard. They told him the dream and he interpreted them, and things turned out exactly as he told them it would.
Tammy, number 4. For whom did Pharaoh then send, and how did Joseph make ready?
Pharaoh sent for Joseph, and Joseph made ready by shaving and changing his clothes.
They made they cannot give you the answer. I mean, it was obvious, but still, they cannot put the name in the question. They should not do that. Okay, next question to me. What did Pharaoh request? Whom did Joseph give credit for interpreting the dreams? Pharaoh wanted an interpretation for his dreams, and Joseph told him that God would be able to interpret the dreams for him. And number 6 to Auntie Susan, what was the interpretation of the dreams?
Joseph said the dreams are one and the same. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good heads of grain are 7 years. The 7 ugly cows and the worthless grain that came after 7 years are 7 years of famine. God showed Pharaoh what he was about to do. 7 years of great abundance are coming throughout the land of Egypt, but 7 years of famine will follow them. The abundance in the land will not be remembered because the famine that follows will be very severe.
And number 7, what advice did Joseph give Pharaoh?
Joseph advised Pharaoh to find an intelligent and wise man and put him in charge of the entire land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh should appoint supervisors over the land and let them collect 1/5 of all the crops during the 7 good years and gather it in the Pharaoh's storehouses. This food should be stored under guard until the famine comes, otherwise, the famine would destroy the land.
And number 8, did Pharaoh take the advice? Whom did he choose to administer the plan and why? He took the advice and he chose Joseph to administer the plan because since God revealed the meaning of his dreams to Joseph, no one else was as intelligent or wise as him. And number 9, to Auntie Susan, how highly was Joseph exalted? What did his name become? And who were his wife and father-in-law?
Okay, Joseph became the governor of the whole of Egypt. The Pharaoh named him Joseph. Oh gosh, I can't pronounce that name.
Zaphenath Paneah.
Zaphenath Pani, and his wife was Asenath. She was the daughter of Poti Potira, a priest of On.
And Tammy, how old was Joseph at this time?
30 years old.
Number 11. How did Joseph administer the plan during the 7 years of plenty? He gathered the food from the 7 years of plenty and stored the grain in cities. Next, Auntie Susan, what 2 sons were born to Joseph at this time?
Okay. Manasseh. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
I don't even know.
Ah?
I'm not even sure.
Well, whatever. And Ephraim.
And I think some
Like
people
explain what.
I don't know if they pronounce it like a SH. So I
Oh,
don't even know. I pronounce it like a S.
okay.
Okay.
I
what you
didn't
say?
need to explain. No, that explanation
No, you
coming
don't need
later.
to say
Right.
now. Tammy, what happened at the end of 7 years? To whom did the Egyptians turn? To whom did Pharaoh send them? What did Joseph do? From whence did people come?
The 7 years of famine began. The people turned to Pharaoh for food. He sent them to Joseph. Joseph opened up the storehouses and distributed grain to the Egyptians. And people from all around came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph because the famine was severe throughout the world.
Okay. And then I will just do, I think the thought questions were really fact questions because it was straight from the text anyway. So I think we could just do one person per question, the thought question. So I'll do thought question 1. Why did Pharaoh have 2 dreams? Because the events were decreed by God and he would make it happen soon. And next question to Auntie Susan. Why did Joseph name his sons what he did?
The first one, because God has made him complete, forget my hardships and my father's house. And the other one, because God has made me fruitful in the country of my misfortune.
Okay, next question to Tommy. Why did Jacob send his sons to Egypt and how many went?
Jacob heard that grain was available in Egypt, so he sent them to buy, and Joseph's 10 older brothers went.
And next one, why did Benjamin stay home? Jacob was afraid that harm would come to him. And number 3, from whom did the brothers buy grain? Did he know them and did they know him?
They bought the grain from Joseph. And did he know them? Yes. Did they know him? No.
Number 4. What charge did Joseph make against them? He
He
accused,
accused,
oh,
he
sorry.
accused them, he accused them of being spies who came to see how vulnerable the land had become.
And then how did they reply? They said they were simply there to buy food, that they were honest men, not spies, that there were 12 of them. The youngest was in Canaan with their father, and one was no longer with them. And number 6 to Auntie Susan, what did Joseph require of them, and what did he do with them?
He wanted one of the brothers to go back for Benjamin, the youngest, and the others were imprisoned for 3 days.
And wait, say that again.
Um, he wanted one of the brothers to go back for Benjamin, the youngest,
Okay,
and
right,
the others were in prison for 3 days.
right. I have that.
Mhm.
And next one to Tammy. What did Joseph say to his brothers on the third day?
On the third day, Joseph said to them, I am a God-fearing man. If you do as I say, you will live. If you really are honest men, choose one of your brothers to remain in prison. The rest of you may go home with grain for your starving families, but you must bring your youngest brother back to me. This will prove that you are telling the truth and you will not die.
Okay. Um, Next, what did the brothers say in Joseph's presence? Why did they speak openly before him, and how did Joseph react? They said they were being punished for what they did to their youngest brother, to their younger brother Joseph, and they were speaking openly because they didn't think that he spoke their language, because he was using an interpreter. And then his reaction was he turned and wept, and then he regained his composure. And then number 9 to Auntie Tuzan. Whom did Joseph have bound? What did he do for the others?
He chose Simeon, and what did he do for the others? He filled their containers. He returned their money and gave them provisions for their journey.
And number 10. What happened to one of the brothers on their return journey, and how did they react?
One of them opened his sack to get grain for his donkey, and he found the money returned at the top of the sack. Their hearts sank because they were afraid.
And next, what did the brothers tell their father? They told him everything that occurred in Egypt. I didn't go through the whole story. Um, Number 12. What happened when they emptied their sacks, and what was the result?
As they emptied their sacks, they discovered their bags of money. They were afraid, and so was their father.
And 13. What did Jacob say, and how did Reuben reply?
Jacob said, You are robbing me of my children. Joseph is gone, Simeon is gone, and now you want to take Benjamin too. Everything is going against me. Reuben answered, You may kill my 2 sons if I don't bring Benjamin back to you. I will be responsible for him, and I promise to bring him back.
And what was Jacob's final word? His final word was that Benjamin would not go, because if anything happened to Benjamin, then he, Jacob, would go to his grave. And then the third question, I guess everyone could answer this one. Why did Joseph treat his brothers as he did?
He wanted to teach them a lesson. Two, I had 3 points.
Mhm.
He was probably testing them to see if they had changed from their wicked and mean ways. And the last one, he wanted to show them who was in charge.
And Tammy, what do you have?
He suffered greatly at their hands before, so he wanted to discern their present character and commitment to family. Maybe he felt justified in treating them harshly because of how they had treated him before. He also wanted to test their integrity by returning the money when they left. Also, deception has been seen amongst his father and his brothers. Jacob was a deceiver. He deceived Isaac. Jacob was deceived by his father in law and by his sons, and then Joseph deceives his brothers.
Okay. I have the brothers needed to genuinely repent for what they did to him. So he was applying pressure to them so that they would connect their current trouble with the evil that they did to him, and hopefully be forced to reflect on their actions and feel true remorse. All right. Anybody else had any questions or comments based on the last two chapters?
You think they learned their lesson from what Joseph did to
I
them?
think they started to,
Yeah, to repent.
because they started to, because it took that kind of hardship for them to start it,
Just,
because they probably wasn't thinking about him at all. Like, I mean, not that much, maybe a little bit, but
mhm.
it's okay, because like they were like just going about daily life, and they probably had like lots of stuff to do every day, right? So you know, when you're working and you have things to do, you just getting things done. But now, like, you in a prison for 3 days, you can't help but think, you know,
Yeah,
and reflect on like,
on what
why
he
would all
did.
this be happening to us? Because people from all over the well, what they known world at that point, right?
Mhm.
Coming to Egypt, and they not getting thrown in prison, and look, they just get thrown in prison. So they have
Mhm.
to think, well, okay, that it has to be like um a result of their actions. Okay, I had one last thing. Um, I was considering giving it to them, to y'all, as homework or whatever, but I realized, and you would find, you could look this, you could actually read this up on, like, if you have articles, you could search it. That Joseph, although he is an actual person who actually existed, he was like a foreshadowing of Christ. So if you look at different, there are actually more things than this that you could find, right? If you look at different aspects of his life and his story, it is very parallel. It's like parallel to Jesus. Like, even the fact that he, like how Jesus started his ministry at 30, and Joseph started working for Pharaoh at 30. And then it has all these little things. So we could look at Joseph's life, and of course Joseph is just a man, and Jesus is God, the Son of God. But there's a lot of similarities between Joseph and Jesus. Did y'all think of that?
No.
Well, y'all could skim through the screen if you want.
No, I didn't.
Okay, Tammy, you want to read it out?
Okay. Joseph compared to Jesus. He is the object of his father's special love. He had promises of divine exaltation. He was mocked by his family. He was sold for pieces of silver. He was stripped of his robe. He was delivered up to the Gentiles. He was falsely accused. He was faithful amid temptation. He was thrown into prison. He stood before rulers. His power was acknowledged by those in authority. He saves his rebellious brothers from death when they realize who he is. He is exalted after and through humiliation. He embraces God's purpose, even though it brings him intense physical harm. He is the instrument God uses at the hands of the Gentiles to bless his people. He welcomes Gentiles to be part of his family. He gives hungry people bread. People must bow their knee before him.
Yeah, and you could like say those same things about Joseph, and you could say the same things about Jesus. Any other comment?
No.
Okay. Tammy, you wanna pull up a prayer or a psalm?
Okay. We'll get this psalm. Okay, I'll read Psalm 80. Give, give ear, O shepherd of Israel, thou that leadest Joseph like a flock, thou that dwellest between the cherubims, shine forth. Before Ephraim and Benjamin and Manasseh, stir up thy strength, and come and save us. Turn us again, O God, and cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. O Lord God of hosts, how long wilt thou be angry against the prayer of thy people? Thou feedest them with the bread of tears, and givest them tears to drink in great measure. Thou makest us a strife unto our neighbors, and our enemies laugh among themselves. Turn us again, O God of hosts, and cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. Thou hast brought a vine out of Egypt. Thou hast cast out the heathen and planted it. Thou preparedst room before it, and didst cause it to take deep root, and it filled the land. The hills were covered with the shadow of it, and the boughs thereof were like the goodly cedars. She sent out her boughs unto the sea, and her branches unto the river. Why hast thou then broken down the hedges, so that all they which pass by the way, do pluck her? The boar out of the wood doth waste it, and the wild beast of the field doth devour it. Return, we beseech thee, O God of hosts, look down from heaven, and behold, and visit this vine, and the vineyard which thy right hand hath planted, and the branch that thou madest strong for thyself. It is burned with fire, it is cut down. They perish at the rebuke of thy countenance. Let thy hand be upon the man of thy right hand, upon the Son of Man, whom thou madest strong for thyself. So will not we go back from thee? Quicken us, and we will call upon thy name. Turn us again, O Lord, God of hosts. Cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. Amen.
Amen.